Welcome everyone to the world of Horen. Real quick before we get started, just wanted to announce one more time that we are, for the month of June, collecting and raising money for the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is an excellent organization and cause that raises money for LGBTQIA plus youth, particularly those of the 18 to 24-year-old variety. The folks who are the most at risk for suicide and self-harm. The organization sponsors all sorts of outreach and support for these folks. And I think it's a tremendous group. And we are setting a goal of $500. We're a third of the way there. If we meet our goal by the end of the month, then we will be giving away one legendary bundle from D&D Beyond, which fantastic prize for one of the donors who is generous enough to donate to the cause. So the link is going to be in chat all night, and it's going to be below the stream. So if you are able to, please go ahead and do so. And take it away, Aaron.
All right. And speaking of D&D Beyond and the content that would be given for you, that legendary bundle would include the newly released Acquisitions Incorporated sourcebook. That is, I believe, just been released today. All across the world at your local game stores and D&D Beyond. I highly recommend you go and support your local shop and pick up a copy to at least check it out and see the stuff that you might enjoy there. If you enjoy the Acquisitions Incorporated stream, you will enjoy this book. So, right. We are having a fun little swim underwater, aren't we? Yes. So, very briefly and very quickly, Cecil, what happened last week? Or 2 weeks ago. Technical issues. Yep.
We went to go fight some shadow monks. And Dio tried to, go in there and take some names, kick some ass, trying to make a plan. She almost took care of it with some rolls, but she messed up with some roll. Well, no, she didn't mess up. It was all chance, but it would have worked, but it didn't. So the plan continued. Palair went in. Palair was supposed to win, but you made this hard. And he lost. And then that's when we decided to fight. Well, Obi, did his thing, and we decided to fight. We took him down, and then we decided to cut the head, get the body away, just in case so he doesn't come back later. And that's when we went deep diving with the.
By we,
shark.
I think that was clearly a Cecil decision.
Hey, all right, listen. I don't want to see this character again. Okay, he's not showing up. If he shows up, I'm gonna be pissed, and we're gonna kill him again, and I'm gonna keep the head with me for the entire campaign.
But you don't have the head with you. You put it in the basket that the
if he came back, if he comes back for some odd reason,
right. Puts it in the basket.
So we'll see what happens there when the players reach the point of true resurrection. So as our heroes are getting closer towards Elora's hometown, they went swimming down deep with the assistance of Elora, wild-shaped as a shark, and some of her sisters that also came up and wild-shaped as sharks and helped swim everyone down. If I remember rightly, you all also have water breathing on you, so you should be fine, or are you just holding your breath? I think you're water breathing. Yeah, water breathing. Okay, cool. Because the swim is a deep one. It's deep enough that the light from the surface has completely gone by the time you reach the actual city of Elune. Swimming through the water, getting closer towards this, you all begin to spot lights just sparkling far below you. And as you get deeper and deeper, these lights begin to grow and get bigger as you get closer to them. The Sprawling sparkles spread out in a spiral-like pattern and seem to sway with the motions of the water, like a galaxy constantly swirling and moving, but not so rigid and uniform as you would imagine from the night sky. This sprawling landscape is actually the city of Elune. When your eyes begin to focus and settle with the light, you can see small magical scents of light positioned throughout this large complex, with a series of bioluminescent coral that also line everything and give you the outer frame. The central form of the city is one large bubble-like structure, and then jutting out from that are more and more of these bubble corridors and rooms. There is a veritable life, just a mixture of all kinds of sea creatures around this area, enjoying the light and the luminescence that comes from this space, enjoying the way the water moves it, and playing with the city almost, as you see a lot of sea elves as well. Laura and her sisters guide you towards one of the pinnacles of the outstretched arm of the city. Popping through one of the bubble walls, it feels like you're walking through a physical wall, as a thick and almost heavy air pushes against you when you transition from the medium of water to air. You can breathe the fairly fresh but very salty air around you, and you've dropped off in it almost seems like a bit of a dock, almost, as there's plenty of chairs and lounges, places for people to relax after a heavy swim before they go on to other places. And you can see 3 or 4 of these sea elves just chilling out at the edge of the water here, having a nice glass of something that also glows whilst chatting amongst themselves. But as soon as you crest through and the sisters and Allura shapeshift back, everyone else in this area just goes silent and quiet. And they all look to Allura questioningly.
Alara nods her head and she says, "As you were." She sees you all transition through the wall, and you notice that your clothes, rather than being wet from the ocean water, are now dry, as if you weren't even swimming. There's a slight hint of jasmine in the air, and you see that instead of wearing her traveling leathers, she is in this full regal gown of blues and purples with gold and silver embroidery on her outfit. But she has a circlet of coral and seashells around her head, and she turns and says, "Welcome to Elune, my home."
This is pretty amazing.
The 3 other sisters that approached you will inquire to Alara, "Princess, what now with these surfaces?"
"I will escort them, but would you please go on and tell Mother of their arrival?"
"Of course, as you wish." And they'll scurry off as a little group. When they get about 50 or so feet from you, where they think they can't be heard, like a little gaggle of schoolgirls, they start to just chatter amongst themselves, giggling, and then they're scurrying off away. Having seen that interaction, all of the rest of the lounges in this space just go back to relaxing, and they enjoy themselves. There's one person that's even playing a little pan pipe that gives a nice little tune throughout here. Ahead of you is a walkway that's very much like going to SeaWorld or something, like being in a tunnel underneath the water. You can see the sea life swimming all around you, and there's even a stream that cuts in to the floor that's about halfway through that fish are swimming up and bouncing up and then jumping through the wall to the other side. It's everything just blends well together in here. The city is fairly big, considering the fact that you've only met now 5 people. But the closer to the center that you get, the more and more sea elves that you find. There are 3 individuals that stand out to you to be not sea elf by nature, but their skin looks like they've spent far too much time in the water. They're practically growing barnacles themselves, as they seem like they're regulars here. They seem just completely comfortable. Those 3 individuals, 2 of which are human, and the third happens to be a dwarf, all of which similarly dressed in nice, soft blues and turquoise-colored clothing.
So
Making your... Yeah, go ahead.
did she say princess, or is there still water in my ear here?
My mother is the queen, and I am her eldest daughter. So, yes, princess.
Oh, okay.
No big deal.
Shall we continue?
Oh, is this a tour? Please tell me all about it.
As
Princess.
she's
Is
walking,
there like a bow? Do we bow? I don't understand.
you specifically curtsy.
Oh, big curtsy from Obi.
As you're walking, Elara kneels beside one of these small streams, and you can see that there are these like lazy like starfish kind of like moseying up through the stream, and she reaches down and picks one up, and she's speaking soft words to it that you can't understand, and it seems to kind of like glow almost like it's happy, and then she releases it back, and she looks at you guys. She's like, a longtime friend, and but we should continue walking.
How intelligent is a starfish?
And Elara looks at you as if that were like asking if you understand one another. Like she's almost confused by this question.
Well, you know how they say, like, dogs, for instance, mentally can become the equivalent of like a 3 or 4-year-old child in the ability to comprehend meanings and sounds and things like that. Can starfish do that?
Do you know what a dog is? Are there dogs here?
What is a dog?
A seal would probably be a very close approximation.
Also called pups. Baby seals.
It is difficult to explain to landwalkers, but there is an interconnectedness between my people and the creatures of the sea, especially around Elune. It is as if we may speak to one another. They hear my thoughts, I hear theirs. They are just like I am, intelligent beings with feelings and emotions and hopes.
But it's not like they could do your taxes, right?
Well, what are taxes?
Can they do your taxes?
They.
Wait. Do you pay taxes? Are there lawkeepers here?
There are lawkeepers, but I don't know what this taxes is.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Is this place a tax shelter?
The creatures that share this home with us, we protect them, they protect us. We commune with them daily, and we help each other. They do things for us, we do things for them. They are family. Do you not live with your families?
Not presently. I used to.
She just looks thoughtfully.
That sounds nice.
It is very peaceful here.
It seems very peaceful. So peaceful. Like, does anything ever happen here?
Occasionally we have landwalkers that they are shipwrecked or something ill befalls them on the surface of the ocean, and my people save them and nurse them back to health.
How's the murder rate on this block?
We do not have crime here.
What?
And then she looks directly at the cat. She's like, we do not have crime here.
I pet Stripesies.
I curtsy a little bit.
She wasn't talking to you.
As you guys continue walking through, Laura shows you all different kinds of places and the stuff you would expect to see in a fairly well-established village. You walk past what appears to be a nursery, and there is, in fact, a couple sea elves that are cultivating various different aquatic life, from small aquatic plants to large spaces of controlled water that you can see a starfish is actually regrowing one of its limbs right there in front of you, very slowly, but it's a place where they're helping and healing the sea life that's around. You'll go past a place that could be equated to be a library of sorts, as there appears to be shelves upon shelves of small pieces of stone and shells that have been engraved with some sort of writing upon them. No paper books inside an underwater city, but they make do however they can. As you're exploring and moving closer and closer towards the central point, you can all feel that the entire city is constantly in motion. And at first it may have been a little unsettling, but it ends up being fairly comfortable, almost like rocking you to sleep. It's just nice and calm as the arms of this city just sway a little bit with the water as it moves.
What is the name of this place again?
Elune.
Elune.
Do I notice the swaying?
You do.
Are we on an aspidochalon? Oh.
What?
Surprise.
Bless you.
You don't know what an aspidochalon is? I have no
the
idea, by the way,
professor.
whether or not I am actually pronouncing that correctly.
I believe that is a type of pastry that you can find in Port Royal. No?
Oh, there are these legends of these massive sea creatures, so massive that to us, if they weren't moving, they would look like land masses themselves. And there have been reports of turtle ones. There have been reports of whales that do this. No one's actually provided evidence. It's all hearsay. But I have always hoped that they're
As
real.
you're speaking this, you just see a tiny smirk on Elara's face, where she's just like, I do not know what you speak of.
You tell me if we were
Do I
going to
believe
giant
her?
sea turtle, right?
Do I believe her when she says she doesn't know what I speak of?
Insight checks and a private deception or persuasion, depending on
11
whether or not she's telling
for
the
my
truth.
perception.
I got a 17.
Okay. So, Obi, you believe her that she doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's just
Theo,
ocean floor.
there's a little bit of a twinkle in your eye. You know.
They just go,
No. Continuing on with your little tour, your motion will be interrupted. Your exploration will be interrupted with someone shouting in the background. Outsiders! Outsiders in the city! Why are they still conscious? Princess Alora! What are you doing? You'll look back and there's the fairly wretchedly old man. Halvar.
Alvin, let me explain. And she gets this totally, like, instead of being this kind of regal stance, she looks almost like a scolded child. I know the rules. I know the rules, but they helped me.
He reaches out into the water next to him and grabs just more or less a stick of coral that is big enough to be a staff for him. And he'll boop you on the nose. Oh, come here. And he'll give you a nice big hug.
And then she wraps her arms around him.
Obi
It's been
slowly
so long.
puts away the sword he started to draw when this guy had taken a coral staff and looked like he was going to hit her.
I suppose you're going to see your mother.
And then she also looks like a frightened child, in a way. We'll have a discussion about speaking in front of Mother first, but yes.
She not impressed at the cargo currently being ferried across the ocean.
Yes.
But it was bleeding a lot. Not a cleanup needed.
And she's just like,
Well, they helped you. Why did you bring them here?
Alvar, the light, it is in danger. There are others that know of its existence that wish to steal it.
Do you know how many?
And I do not know how many know of its existence.
We must protect it.
Yes, that is what these friends, and she says it kind of like stumbles over the words, helped me do.
Friends? And he'll walk over to whichever of you is the closest to Allura and try to hug you. Who is that?
I imagine that'd probably be Theo.
Theo, this old man is trying to hug you. You reject?
I won't, but I'll get real small and just make sure, like, I'm mostly covered by my own arms.
It's that awkward, this is happening.
Yeah.
He wraps his arms around you, and just like how your clothes are dry, he's fairly dry, except his beard. A little wet. Just slapping across your cheek as he wraps his arms around you.
I think that the sentiments are very kind, sir. However, it's usually polite where I come from to ask before making physical contact with somebody.
Sorry, thought you were a friend. Okay.
Well, just that doesn't mean that I'm not.
Well, Laura, we should get back to lessons when you're ready. A few tricks you still need to learn, yes, once you're done with your mother.
Yes, I imagine there are many things that I still need to learn.
Well, pleasure to meet you, friends. I hope you get to remember this.
And then
he'll
she gives
start
Halvar a
walking away. Or more or less hobbling away. Continuing through the city, you'll, after about, I'd say, half an hour of walking along this, you'll finally reach the large central court. It, unlike where you had most recently been with Haganebuta, where everything was kind of centralized down below, this one, everything spirals up. The Queen's throne is sat at the top of a large spiraling staircase. The shells and the plant life that create her throne seem to almost be molded perfectly to the form of this fairly beautiful woman. Being that she's a sea elf, it's hard to be able to really tell her age, tell what stage in her life she's at. But you can definitely see through not just her eyes, but also the reverence that the people around her are giving to her, which there's quite a lot of people that are currently communicating with her on a little platform just in front, that she has been the queen here for quite some time. As Princess Allura steps into the central courtyard with her guests, all of the people that were currently supplicating the Queen stop. They back away behind the throne, giving a straight shot and a scowl from the Queen towards Allura.
She, before she starts walking down the corridor, she puts just a faint arm out, and she looks to back at the party. Let me do most of the talking. She'll probably be angry, and it is best not to anger her. And she goes, her back stiffens as she's garnering up the strength to make this walk. She lifts her head.
Hey, you got this. Guidance.
I give her a pat on the back and send her out. My own guidance.
I imagine when you do that, when you a soft pat, but anything heartier than that, I'm imagining that you would get a lot of scowls from sea elves, and you see some of the guards kind of step forward as if
yes,
this is
you
not
touched the princess.
Yeah.
I want that. This is gonna be fun.
And she's and lifts her head high as she walks down the path. And when she reaches the front, she bows very low. Mother?
Now, Allura, do you have, and I should have asked this before, do you have a full title that a parent would usually call out? You know, when you're in trouble and your parents use your middle names.
Oh, hang on, let me think. Yes. It's Lara Annalena Yaldrin.
Okay, so as you bow,
she has her head.
She will call out Princess Lara Annalena Yaldrin. That was probably wrong.
Annalena Yaldrin.
Annalena Yaldrin.
And
okay.
Mother.
I send you to the surface to keep an eye on things. Next thing I know, you're getting very much involved, and there are services at my gates.
Yes.
Are you taking the right precautions?
I took many, not all.
And why have you deigned to bring them all the way here, daughter?
They are trying to protect the light. And she looks directly in her mother's eyes now. Others know of its existence and sought to steal it.
there's a softening to her tone now that you've met her eyes. She can't stay mad at you. Right. Everyone, please excuse us. And people just start scurrying out like a school of fish, just in every direction, just dispersing. This woman that sits on top of this beautiful, large, almost glistening white throne, she, like all of the sea elves here, has a beautiful blue tone to her skin. Hers takes on a bit more of a greenish hue to it, and she's wearing a golden headdress, very much like what Alora's wearing, but a lot more ornate, with the shape of a seahorse, actually, right up at the top, that seems like it's moving, even though you're not underwater. She almost always looks like she is underwater. The hair is slightly in motion, separated, like you would imagine the tails of mermaids to be. You're invited forward, and with a wave of a hand, water begins to cascade in, and then semi-solidify into chairs for you to be seated upon, as her throne lowers itself to be closed. Let me properly introduce myself to you strangers. I am Queen Ulysia, and along with my daughter here, we are the guardians of Elune. I have been informed through the princess and through others that you have similar desires as we do to protect that which must always be protected. And for that, thank you for gaining the trust of my daughter. Well done. Well done. Now, what service can we offer you while you are here?
I don't know.
We were very grateful for Ilara, so I think we are really at her disposal here.
You desire to take my daughter away with you again?
I mean, I just do what she tells me.
Good answer.
Very well. Ilara, you've spent, a day with these individuals. Do you think that you can trust them with your life?
And she gets kind of this, like, I think life is strong, but they are fairly trustworthy. Though some are a little angsty. She looks at Cecil.
I am going to just stare back at her and just nod disapprovingly.
I would imagine if you show any disrespect, you'll just see Ulysses' eyes just kind of like glow this like purple color, and it makes you very uncomfortable.
I have 4 lives. I'm not uncomfortable. I have 4 lives to make sure I'm to be comfortable.
At some point, he's going to run out of those lives, and then we'll see what an uncomfortable Cecil does. As her eyes flare like that, the lights in this whole place, the bioluminescence seems to respond to that, and everything darkens just for a moment. Well, if I can trust you, just know that should anything befall my heir, the largest of sea creatures that can be mustered will be sent after you. And believe me, there are many you've never encountered before. I can assure you, Princess, that the light is safe for now, at least. We have increased the watch and the guard, and I've even managed to convince Master Alvar to spend some of his downtime watching over the light itself. All hands on deck, as it were.
That is reassuring. I worry, though, how did others come to find of its existence in the first place?
For that, to answer that question, I recently had audience with an ally who helped me to understand just a little bit more of the situation at hand. There are sparks, shards, pieces, as you will, all around the world, in many different places, of all sorts of different aspects of life. Light, dark, happiness, sadness. All of these entities have a piece on this world somewhere, and they are each coming to bear and drawing attention to themselves, building towards something. From what I have been told, this has happened before and will happen again. Our lot, our responsibility is to protect that which we have been given stewardship over and ensure that it survives the cycle one more time.
What can I do to help?
It pains me to say, but I think you're going to have to go away for a while. I would give this task to some of your sisters, but I have been informed that this task will help prepare you for your seat on my throne one day, when that happens. I need you to travel this land and find those other sparks and ensure that they are not in danger. Find those who would use them for heinous reasons and stop them.
I will accept this task gladly, but who is this ally that you spoke of?
A knowing smile crosses her face. A friend that whose name will remain private around certain company. And then a wink.
Right. Well, do you have any inclination as to the first place we should travel to?
The eyes of my friend could not see specific locations, but one thing he did inform me of is that they tend to be, or rather, life tends to congregate close to a source of power. You will rarely find one of these sparks alone in the world. You will find them near life, and quite possibly life has developed in such a way that they are completely unaware of its importance. Like we have grown to protect the light, we were enlightened to understand a little bit more about what it is, but there are those that may not be aware. You will need to find people adept in tracking and hunting entities of great power.
The sneeze.
Excuse me.
Well, I covered it, so it's not like you.
Elara looks back at you and she's like, she gives you this look of like,
No, that was like a real sneeze. That wasn't like a fake sneeze. I just want everybody to know that as clarification. That was a real sneeze.
Okay.
I don't know, but
Solomon
she still
sneezing.
gives you like a hold it in.
3 lives. I already died.
Okay.
Pelir will step forward. Say, my ladies, Princess Elara and Queen Lysia. I am Pelir de Winter. And I would like to share that our findings, if I may be so bold to speak.
You may, though please do not mince your words. Speak plainly, speak boldly, and know that I will know if you are lying.
Our findings are similar that we have heard this cycle has occurred before. And we have a time frame, I believe, and I look over at Theodora for when the last cycle had occurred, at least on the land of Irmios. Perhaps, if I do not know much of this land, but perhaps if you have records dating back to that time, it could be instructive to know what happens at that time, so we can prepare for the cycle again.
What do you currently know about the cycle? And she looks at Theodora.
Almost nothing.
Very
But
well.
did we not know of a certain man in Emios who wielded one of these, or was influenced by one of these shards?
That's from a greater demon. I don't know if it's the same thing.
When
These folk are talking about like light and stuff. Surely light is not one of the greater demons we're seeking.
well, she just said that the shards are in all different shapes and sizes and aspects.
Yeah, but there's like shards, and then there's the shards that we use every day, and then there's the shards that she's talking about here. It seems like there are like 3 different kinds of shards we're referring to presently.
Do you think that there are different shards? It seems awfully strange to have a coincidence like this.
Right now, I don't think the demons are the shards that we're talking about with the apocalypse and stuff. I think it's different.
Then forgive my ignorance.
I don't know for sure.
Great light, as in that of a lune, but there is also great darkness. Everything has an opposite.
I think what you have, what the light is potentially, I don't know any of this. It's all just theory until any of it's proven. Or I don't know. But I think this stuff is stronger than greater demons. I think it sounds like some kind of, I don't know, magical battery. I don't know. It would be helpful, I suppose, if I examined it.
Does any of this make sense to you, Mother?
Some things do, but you bring information to light that might be worth investigating more about. Greater demons, you say?
Yeah.
What can you tell me about them?
As far as we know, they are the ones, if there are only one of each, that represent the sins associated with specific section of belief.
I must converse with the elders and see what information I can gather concerning this specific question and situation that
Yeah,
you present.
I guess I hadn't even considered that demons might be some of these things that we're looking for as well. So, yeah.
You are all welcome to spend the day here. Elora, we will need to go and have audience with the elders at first light at dawn in the morning. So please see to it that your friends are situated in suitable accommodations, and I will see you back here first thing in the morning.
Yes,
Oh.
Mother.
Queen Ulyssia,
Yes.
apologies for interrupting. Before you let us go, are there any rules that you'd like us to adhere to while we're here? For instance, no changing of the air pressure because air bubble? Is that something that I need to be mindful of?
Every person within the city, every member of the Ilune conclave city has been trained since birth, whether they be sea elf or other creature, to constantly aid and provide the city its magic that keeps the water flowing in the appropriate manners. I would be surprised if you were capable of doing enough irreparable damage within a day to be of any particular danger, but I would invite you not to put too much strain upon the magic here. Try not to burst the bubble too much.
If this place is as peaceful as it looks, that probably isn't going to be a problem.
Yes. We all work together here. Everyone respects one another, their privacy and their desires to act according to their own wishes, so long as your desires do not harm or affect another person. You should be fine.
Sensible.
Mother, may I make a request?
You may.
May they keep their memories?
Do you think it would be beneficial if such a policy is disregarded for their benefit?
If we are to find these sources of power, then yes. I will need companions that are aware.
Then I will leave the decision to you to ensure that they do not come across knowledge or information that we cannot allow to leave this sacred place.
I will ensure that we are kept protected.
Thank you. Sleep well. May the seas guide your dreams.
And may the
Should you
light show you grace. And she bows her head.
Now, the queen never leaves first. So, as she bows and effectively dismisses you, guards will open up the doors and kind of motion to you all to also, leave.
And then she's like, out, 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 out.
We do.
Hint.
Okay. So, You go and find them accommodations, suitable accommodations, whether they be in your own private quarters or in some of the bunks, or even if you put them in the nursery. It's up to you where you put them.
Yes, where are our accommodations?
I think that you may stay in the servants' quarters that attend the princess in my ward. Like
Okey-dokey.
I imagine you're thinking like, oh, it's gonna be this tiny little like dingy hole in the underwater wall, but she'll guide you through some corridors, and you see, just like described earlier, the city is really built as this central like tall dome, and then it has spiraling arms like a galaxy that extend off of it, and she leads you down one of these extensions towards her quarters, and you see hers. There are these grand pillars that have, like, some are made of what looks like carved tentacles, and others have coral reef growing on them. There's bioluminescence everywhere, and the hint of jasmine grows stronger. But she extends her hand as she waves the other one, and you see this shimmering wall appear. And she's like, "This will be your quarters." And the wall dissipates, and you see this beautiful room with like a small flowing waterfall in it, and it's lit by like purples and light green luminescence, and there are like water beds, just like the chairs that were summoned, and the most comfortable beds you've ever lain on, and the water is like still flowing within each bed. Like, you can watch it kind of move as you lay upon it. The floor of the room is clear but lit with this very soft blue light, and you see little fish swimming among coral underneath. Will these be suitable?
Yeah, they could, you know.
So these
We can work on
are
it.
these servants' quarters. Are you nearby?
I am just down the hall. The double doors are my room.
Oh, neat.
Would it? I think I saw a place that looked like it could be a house of knowledge. Would it be possible for us to perhaps examine those records to see how they line up with the records in Ermios, or is that part of the information that we are forbidden from knowing?
She smiles almost as if like this is a strange request. She's like, "All right. All you must do is sing a song into the waterfall of what you wish to know, and the shells will come to you."
That is an interesting filing system, I think.
So I have so many questions, but probably not even as many as Theodora.
I'm gonna look at Obi and just whisper to him, "Sing them to me."
Well, what can you sing anything? Can I ask about something I do not know and it shows up? I mean, what all can I sing? Could you sing to a waterfall about? Did you sing
Give
to
it
a
a
waterfall about us?
You can ask about non-brokers. Ooh, that was my desk. What is it that you wish to know?
Oh, nothing. I just was curious how it worked. That was all. There's nothing I want to know,
Does she believe
but
him?
I'm sure Theodora wants to know.
You can roll an insight check. I'm pretty sure.
I got it at 20.
Obi is lying.
Nat 20. Let's check out my deception check. A 7. You suspect he has some very deep-seated things he wants to know.
Knowing that in her mind, You hear her hum something soft as she locks certain files. Shells from appearing. Theo, may I answer any questions you have?
Do you domesticate any sea life?
Domesticate?
Yeah.
Do you domesticate your sisters or brothers?
Well, no, but we have things like bovine that help us shift
You got
loads
sea
too heavy for
cows?
us.
The sea cow and manatee
cow.
just appeared. We
Sometimes there aren't things you can do yourself, and for that you get animals. That's how the normal farmer works topside.
right.
It ain't much,
I
but
am-
it's honest work.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. I understand the ways of the landwalkers, but life here is different. I will try to explain, but we do not make other creatures that are not like ourselves do our bidding. Instead, we all live and work together in harmony. We are family. The dolphins and the queen and the starfish, they are all the same. One is not better. One is not.
No one's talking about anyone being better than anyone else.
No. She's like, I am trying to explain this. One does not do a service for another. This is a difficult concept, and
I think I get it. I think I get it.
And she's as she like gets a little like not flustered, but like she's like really like trying hard to explain. You see her hair kind of starts to like flutter up as it's like almost like it's underwater, and then she like notices it and it falls flat.
Thank you for your hospitality. This place is amazing. I'll immediately switch subjects and try to help her out.
If her cheeks could blush, you think you see like a small like bluish hue darken in her skin. Thank you.
Let's summon one of these sea cells. This is actually pretty interesting.
Sing something to the waterfall, Cecil.
I will ask everybody what they want so we can piece together an ill song.
So is the waterfall right there? In this room? Or is there a different waterfall?
Is
So
there
this
any waterfall?
this waterfall, it is right there, and she points back. And you see this beautiful cascading. It's not like a big, giant, roaring waterfall. It's just this very calm, tranquil, cascading water in the back center of the room. There's tons of bioluminescence highlighting it. We have many locations where you may sing your request into something like this. Otherwise, you may just ask the fish.
We can't talk to fish.
Oh,
All right. Hold up. I will sing a song to the waterfall.
What song will you sing?
So I walk up to the waterfall, and I clear my throat, and I say, 500 years ago, a cycle began anew. What I want to know is what we're supposed to do.
that's awesome.
Yay!
Back by everybody.
Well done. A ripple cascades throughout that little waterfall there, and you watch as it disappears into the water beyond, like a sound wave just bouncing out towards the seas. A moment later, you see a very small shape beginning to slide its way along a water current back towards this room, towards the quarters. With the fact that every wall is actually just a bubble into the water, you can see through most of the city as it flies towards you, and a single shell will slide down the waterfall and stop in midair in front of you, inviting you to grab.
Ilara, may I just guess that the answers are also delivered in song form? Is that how it works?
She giggles. No.
Yeah.
But you may ask the fish to sing it for you.
The shell is coated in lots of tiny little writing that is naturally druidic.
Well, she waves her hand across it and up in the air, kind of almost as if you have a big flat screen kind of TV, but there's no shape to it. It's just you just see these brilliant purple etchings start to type across the air, and you can see through, she can see everybody standing across, it's transparent, but you just see all these etchings. This is how
overhead projector.
Yes, but it's brilliant, and they're just twinkling and moving just ever so slightly. This is how you read the shells.
So, the shell covers a lot of information, but to answer your question, it seems to actually give you knowledge of the incident when a star fell out of the sky, and it tells you the history of the shard of light that happened 500 or so years ago. The light... Summing it up, the light fell from the sky, and it didn't appear to take any sort of physical form until it reached the darkest depths of the sea. Life within the sea began to approach this spark of light just naturally around it. As so many different kinds of sea creatures began to be drawn towards the light, it drew the attention of a lot of darker, meaner, more evil-like creatures that also wanted to gather together. And it tells a tale of great wars that happened between carnivorous sea life that would fight over the territory that involved this spark of light. And the light seemed to just keep growing and growing as more people focused on it, and more of these sea creatures just worshipped this spark of light, until the sea elves began to be drawn towards it, where they mastered the sea life that was around here and developed the city with the purpose to protect it. You read the tale that is displayed out to you as it explains how the people began to harness the light that was here, and while its pure energy wanted to just explode out in all directions, in order to create order from this pure essence, the sea elves had to direct the light's power in the right manner and the right direction. And eventually they were able to quell the influence of the shard of light, I should say, as this essence that is constantly giving off this aura of bring light and life towards it. They've quelled it down to the point where it provides the light to the city, and not much more than that. It doesn't keep drawing creatures towards it. You can learn from that story that uninhibited, even the good that you might encounter could be uncontrolled and do who knows what. But whilst undirected, you need to find, or at least if a person is strong enough to direct the shards in a particular manner, then they can harness that power for good, whether the power is good or evil. As you saw that the light was being used to attract weaker creatures for the purpose of the darker entities that wanted to feed off of them. So try to use the shards for good, not ill. That's what you can learn from that tale.
Does it say anything at all about what physical form the shard actually takes? Is it like a ball of pure energy? Is it like literally a hunk of crystal? Does it say anything about that?
It describes the initial entity as it dropped out of the sky. It fell and seemed to solidify into a rock-like formation, which at first was very dull and bland. But once it entered into the depths of the sea, it began to absorb all of the light that was around it as it cooled down. And then it just, in a brilliant, almost explosion, it began to glow with the light that it is.
Okay.
Kind of also supports the fact that there is a gem of greed, almost, that you had encountered previously.
So far we're looking for things that are similar to earth motes of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question for you guys. Knowing that Alora is going to go with her mother and entreat with the elders concerning the greater demons, is there anything specific that you would ask Alora to ensure that it is covered?
Just that the places we were meaning to go were the places where these sins had taken a hold of the populace. It seems like they all want to be found by people, these things that corrupt, and then I'll list off what remaining sins are out there.
Okay.
And I want to make sure I understand a lesson that we could have gleaned from this story. And that lesson was that even shards that are negatively influenced can be used for good by characters of good persuasions.
So we're out.
No, but anyone particularly tempted by greed would take this lesson and probably suggest that we go back to that guy.
Well, thinking about the tale you read about the individual, the sergeant that was tempted by greed, the greed led him towards helping build the empire of Irmios. Whether that was good or bad, it remains, I guess, to be seen. But yes, even dark entities, dark essences can be used for good or ill. All right. So,
I wish
yeah.
to ask, you spoke of these sins. Which are remaining?
They are. We took care of Sloth. That was the one that was trying to get in under Hagane Buto. We stopped it. Greed we have tracked down, at least in part. We're hoping the whole thing. For some reason, I have it in my head that there are pieces. Maybe not. But we have tracked...
He has a shard of greed.
Yeah. Yeah,
probably
to
why you
Oakwell.
think- yeah.
And then we don't know anything about lust, gluttony, wrath, envy, or pride.
Yes, I am ignorant of these things, just generally speaking.
Where did you find the other two?
One of them was the one that initiated, I guess, the journey that gave us the knowledge in the first place that any of this was happening. That was the sloth story with Hagane Buto. And then the other one came because we were spending some time in the observatory, which if you don't know, if you've never been to Oakwell and don't know anything about it, the observatory is this really, really big, what would you call it, temple to science and knowledge.
As you're lifting your hands like out, you see like a couple little fish come and like playfully nibble at your fingers.
Really big observatory. And we spent some time trying to locate things via events in which a lot of people started acting a certain way being towards one of these corruptive sins. So books was that one's fault mostly.
Yes, but if we have not relayed the story to you, we traveled to Citadel Haganebuto, and we tracked down a coven of hags who were summoning, it appeared anyway, to be summoning these demons, and we thwarted their ritual.
I hate sea hags. The most foul creatures in the sea.
I agree.
But it turns out that the demons had already been summoned, but they were being held by this ritual. So when we interrupted this ritual, we, and I'll lower my voice, we set the demons free by slaying this hag. But the one demon who was coming to the location that we were at, Theodora, with her quick thinking, was able to close the gate and stopped him before he could even arrive on this plane. However, the other 6 are somewhere loose in the world. As far as
you're telling your tale, you look and like suddenly you realize that all these little fish and like a starfish and other little smaller sea creatures are all kind of like gathered around Ilar, almost as if we're all like eating popcorn listening.
So yes, that is how we learned.
Does that make Pellaire a Disney princess?
I did have a musical solo, so
It was very amazing.
Have you heard the song Under the Sea?
how does it go?
Perhaps another time. But she's like, we do know what forks are. One like produces out of the air. But this is very interesting. I will relay some of this information to the elders.
I would beg your discretion with specific regard to the fact that there are 6 greater demons on loose on the plane that can be directly traced back to our actions.
Did you do this knowingly?
Oh, no, not at all. We tried to stop it
Yeah, we tried
Well,
to.
then-
the whole time.
Then would it not be best to admit what you have done and your atonement is to track them down and stop them?
We're already doing that.
Yes, this is
But
what we
then
are
you
doing.
have nothing to be ashamed for. My people are a understanding and forgiving kind.
Well, this is very optimistic of you, and I hope for the best in this regard. You know your people better than we.
If we had done nothing, just FYI, the hags would have been in control of the greater demons, and that would have been any good for anybody either, when you're telling the story.
I will relay that.
Thanks, you're the best! You did great with your mom, by the way. I thought you were very fierce.
She is very firm sometimes.
That's a word for it.
Yeah, I often feel tiny in her presence. She does not do it to be malicious, but there is a great deal of expectation that falls upon an heir.
Yep. I was thinking, I know that she sent you instead of your sisters for some reason that she said at the time. I don't remember what it was. It was such a lie in my eyes because she sent you because you're the strongest. You're the only one that she can count on to get this done.
Well, thank you. And then she's like, some of my sisters can be a little frivolous.
They have the personalities of wet noodles compared to you. You're beautiful. You're a shining, pearlescent goddess of the sea.
And you see, like, actual, what are they called? I think they're like, is it like tube worms? Those underwater aquatic things? Like,
There are, yeah.
yeah, they're really creepy looking. But they, like, start to, like, sprig out of the walls. Oh, no, she wasn't calling for you. Like, it's a very interactive environment. These hags. These are concerning. Just like, oh, they love that game. As you like poke, and it's like
Pretty fun.
The sea loves to play, and then she like takes the little starfish off her hand or off her shoulder and like hands him to Theodora.
Oh, hey there. Can you do taxes?
His legs twitches just a little bit in response to that question.
This is Eldon. He is one of the oldest of his kind. Be gentle.
Oh.
And she hands him to. She says, hags. We have sea hags, and they are nasty a lot. I wonder if they had anything to do with the exposure of the light. I will bring this up to Mother. They're very stinky creatures.
Where
it's another
exactly are the sea hags? Are they
What?
around here? The sea hags, are they around here? Theo, seeing that, I am a hunter, and during that whole arc when we were down there, I was one of the main ones dishing out damage and killing the hags. Would I remember seeing a hag of the ones that were there, with the string, that was very sea-like?
How good is your memory? Roll a history check.
Oh, okay. Well, my memory is really good because, it's about killing things, hunting things. So.
Was there one wearing scuba gear?
Yeah.
That would stand out.
gear on it.
Whenever it talked, it was just like bubbles that came out.
Oh, I got a 7.
Yeah. It was really difficult to be able to tell what forms these hags were, simply because they all were in an astral projection-like form. It was really difficult to be able to tell what they were. You can't remember. But it's possible.
Shoot.
There is one sea hag who we do not speak of her often, but she is almost as if you could say our city's greatest threat. Her name is Morwen.
Alright, now Theo. Can I roll this to see if I can recognize this? Like maybe I read about this somewhere, or of the sea hag.
You could sing a song to the waterfall.
I just want to know if I personally know.
So, with this case, since you've been given a name that you can check back in your mind palace for any knowledge, hag, sea, Morwen. You check yes. Okay, don't even need to make a roll. Though when you first heard the name Morwen, it wasn't in the form of a sea hag. It was a case of being taught of some of the encounters that you've had with, or at least that your family have had with various different monstrosities. There was always the tale of the great sea beast that came to be known as Morwen, because it would take on feminine form and entice men at the shores of the Starshy Bay, since that borders on with your homeland of Belmont. There were tales of this large sea beast that would entice sailors into the water and kill them, and it had that name. Now, this is the first time you're hearing it connected with the idea of it being a hag, but yes, you've heard of that before.
I approach the waterfall again.
Before he says anything,
What do you say?
Can you make the? I see him walk there, and can the water make a piano? Like how they make the bed, water make a piano.
Do you sit down as if you were about to play the piano?
Yes, I want to do that. I want to play the piano.
You probably crack your knuckles. And are you proficient in piano?
Backstory-wise, yes.
Fair enough. Then
On my sheet it says proficient in piano.
Yeah, it's there.
that one time
In
I
C
did a class.
piano.
Specifically.
And C piano.
Right. So you think back to your memories of how to play a piano, and while a piano won't suddenly appear in front of you, when you pretend to tap, you'll notice that the waterfall itself begins to almost ripple in response to the way that your fingers are tapping. And the splashes that come off the waterfall do give a little bit of noise that could be assumed or equate to the
Soft
song that you're
chimes.
playing. Yeah, that sort of thing.
So this is the smooth jazz playing in the background. I say, waterfall, waterfall. I ask you a question again. I seek the location of the sea hag who goes by the name Morwen.
As you do that, like the waterfall turns like this deep, like red purple that looks very like scary and threatening.
Everybody's a critic.
It's alright, Billy.
That is one of the forbidden topics.
I'm gonna
Perhaps it will come to you though, and she watches the waterfall.
I'm going to go up to Ilara and ask her, can you ask the queen, your mother, if we can hunt this? I have a personal grudge with this beast. And if
No, you have a
there's-
professional grudge with this beast. There is a very big difference.
With Morwen?
Yes? Question mark? Enough.
How do you know of Morwen?
Well, my family has been, we're hunters, and I know a few people that tried to hunt this beast, this sea hag, and they have never returned. If we can kill two birds with one stone in terms of getting to see if maybe there's like a sin here or there's more information here, and if she was one of the ones that was part of that little meaning, we can get information from her, and I can kill her like I want to.
Your mother did say that these sparks, these shards, they tend to group together, but people don't know it. So maybe Marwin has something, because there is one spark of light here that we know of, and it would make sense there'd be more if your mother is correct.
It is interesting. Perhaps. Morwen is very feared among my people. She often, as you've seen, music is part of our people. We sing, we speak to one another in this way. But just as we sing it, and it is a thing of beauty, here there are parts of the sea where you may be lured by song to your death. And that is usually Morwen's doing. I will ask of this as well.
Country music.
Oh god, yeah. You just start seeing like blood coming out of your ear.
Country road.
So So to answer the question, unfortunately, the waterfall doesn't respond with the answer to that question. As you say exactly, the information is restricted, and you would know exactly why. Foolish sea people, foolish individuals and young folk within the city would feel like it's a challenge to prove their capabilities, and the last few times that happened, they all died. So that information is protected by the Queen. Okay. Anything else that you guys would do to prepare for Alora's audience with the Queen and the Elders on the morrow? All right.
I would think if no one's gonna say nothing, for like right now in this little I guess group meeting, I would think later, like near the night, I want to see if I can activate Divine Sense. I know that I'm not. It's not looking. I just want to have it activated, and I want to try and feel a shard of evil or an evil entity. Now I know that I wasn't the one that touched Sloth entity or sealed it away. That was Theo. But considering that I'm a paladin and have been trained to be attuned through paladinhoodness and I'm making up words.
He's trying so hard.
Yeah, I know, paladinhoodness and just my Cecil personally has been more trained in holy monsters and than any other type of monsters, so he would be more inclined to feel something right there.
Okay. So, using your divine senses, strictly speaking, rules as written, mechanically speaking, straight away, you do not detect any celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet of you, not behind total cover. Okay? So that's aside. The area around you, or in the immediate vicinity around you, does not feel hallowed. It doesn't feel consecrated, nor does it feel desecrated. However, roll perception or insight, perhaps?
I'm gonna do insight.
Or since you're a paladin, well, actually, since you're a paladin and your divine power comes through charisma, right? Roll a charisma check. Let's see how attuned you are to your divine power.
Okay, you got it. 18.
18, okay. Your divine senses in this moment detect that there is not so much desecration, but there does appear to be some level of minor corruption. Minor, just a little bit of minor corruption to both you and Theo.
I'm gonna just shrug it off. I guess go back. A little surprised if I go back to sleep.
Okay. All right. Then if there is nothing else, and nope, okay. Then you will all rest well for the night.
Perhaps someone could tell Roab to keep waiting because we came down and haven't left. If someone could send a message or something, since he's waiting for us above.
Zune had that one prepared for today? No? No, I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know if you could send a fish or I don't know.
You wish me to send someone to speak to your friend?
Or just to tell him not to leave. Sounds like we're going to be here for a while. He still owes us a favor. So...
Oh, yeah, we're going to be here for a while if we have a hunting job.
Can he speak with fish?
No, but maybe they could take a shell that says, like, we're okay, stay here.
Can he read through it?
Send the catfish.
We could write on it in common.
Oh, you cannot desecrate a shell.
Oh, never mind then.
He'll
wait, it's fine.
Send a school of fish to go and position themselves as if the words.
That'd be awesome.
So, quick question: the shell that they pulled out and had a lot of that information, could that be like removed and it's just in the shell, or is it like part of the waterfall and you have to have the waterfall there to get that info?
The shell could be removed, and that's fine. But the shell is, and all the knowledge, everything that's marked down within here is written in Druidic,
Right.
and not so much in just like scratched in or carved in. There is magic just purely in the essence of its writing.
Right.
You can,
but once it's written, it's in Druidic, but you could like take that and carry it with you.
You could.
Okay.
Might be a bad idea to do so, but you could. Leaving it in the waterfall, it can be translated for you.
Right.
But yeah. So a message can be sent to Roab. It'll get to him. He'll be a little bit confused probably, but hey, it's Roab. We don't like him, do we?
He has my horse, so I hope he sticks
true.
around.
He has your horse. Okay. So on the morrow, you
Well,
roll.
if I may,
Go
when
ahead.
we go to sleep, then I have a little pan flute, and I'm just gonna play it until everyone is good and asleep, and I know everyone is good and asleep.
Okay, and what are you going to do there?
Alara's not in this room. She's
Right.
in her.
Right.
Pelea
I'm
does not
just-
sleep. He trances.
How?
He's good in trance. He's good in trance.
Roll a stealth check there.
Yeah.
While Theo and Cecil are unaware of the surroundings.
Bah, I have a plus 11 and I rolled a 13.
Pelea, what's your passive perception?
It is 14.
14. Okay.
Can I
Something
tell if
stirs.
he's listening to me?
Well, depends on whether or not Pelea reacts to the sense of motion of Obi moving.
I mean, I go over to the waterfall and I look around to see if anybody's awake.
An eye pops open. And then it closes.
Okay. I am Obsidian Dragonfly of Golden Valley Clan, and yet while I have a name, I do not know who I am. I have been left alone since the tender age of 5, and I have done what I must to keep myself alive. Through death and pain and shadow, I've done all within my power to find Cloud Serpent father and my mother Seven Flower. I think I know the answer. It sits on me like lead. Surely after so long, my parents must be dead. But if alive or dead, and it's alive, I pray, please tell me where to find them and reunite with them one day.
Inspiration. That was really good.
That was well done. Well done. You
Obi
guys
has not
send
paid
me
attention to one thing you've said ever since he saw it was there. Anyway, and he waits really quietly.
and a small shell will slide towards you, and I'll answer that question privately with you.
I can't read it. It's in Druidic.
True, it's in Druidic, so it would need to
Put
be.
it. I put it in my pocket quietly
Oh.
and walk away.
Okay. Stealing knowledge. Okay, fair enough. So
That may or may not be
as-
totally within his wheelhouse.
We'll see. All right, you'll have to send me that little poem because that was beautiful. That really was. All right. Anything else that happens? No? Okay. After gaining all the benefits of a full long rest, you all wake up refreshed, and it was a wonderful night's sleep. The beds were nice and comfortable. The atmosphere just helped you to lull to sleep as you were constantly in motion. By now, as you've woken up and you've spent the entire night sleeping in it, now
When-
you barely
when they-
notice it. Yeah, go
When
ahead.
they wake up, though, like, it's like just open their eyes. There's just like a bunch of like tiger sharks, like sleeping, kind of like laying on the floor, and just like a bunch of like slumbering fish. It's just a very tranquil area. And then as they like wake, they start to like dissipate. But
Can these beds be popped by, say, claws?
No.
Okay,
They don't
great.
have a brain.
Because waking up and seeing a shark.
Okay. Laura, you have a meeting to get to. So whether or not you say farewell to the party for a time, leave them alone, is up to you. But you have a responsibility. Do you inform the party of your absence before you go, or do you just go?
She's walking down the corridor, and as she's passing, she looks in and she sees them. Like, she's standing at a distance, though, too, so I imagine they don't readily see her right away. But she sees them, and then she just whispers to some of the fish to bring them breakfast, and continues walking.
Okay. All right. When you head out, you will meet your mother, the queen, in her private, in the main courtyard. Without really saying a word, she turns around and begins to just walk off, expecting you to just step into line next to her. You've been with her on only one occasion when she's gone to consult with the elders before, because this is a very so much sacred and also very private affair. It rarely happens that the queen entreats with the elders with anyone else present, but with the situation at hand, she feels like it's important that you are also there. Going into her main courtyard and her the large dome, towards her throne room, the floor parts instinctively in response to her, as the seas just divide to allow you to be able to enter into the water directly below and swim even further down below the city. It takes you about 20 minutes swimming through almost complete darkness before you end up at a brilliantly bright scene. A large cavernous space, which is, we'll say it's about 150 feet diameter hemisphere that you have, all underwater completely and brilliantly lit by very, very bright red bioluminescent crystals that seem to just be positioned all around. In the center, where all of these crystals seem to point, begins a shadow that takes on a physical. As you approach and it becomes more solidified, the shadow, the silhouette, begins to grow and grow until it takes on the size of a gargantuan sea turtle. When it takes on that physical form, something very specific happens that even the party do notice. The city stops moving, and everything just goes perfectly still for just a moment, as almost a shudder passes through everything, and everything is aware of what has just taken place. The queen bows before this large sea turtle, and you know to do the same. Queen Ulissia and Princess Allura, arise, step forward, that we may converse.
Whoa. This thing talks?
This thing talks.
Like, actually talks? Not just like weird druid speak stuff? But
It actually talks.
Do we feel this?
You and that the shudder that stopped the motion of the entire city will last for the time that he is in physical. So you'll know that something is different.
Okay, we can feel the vibrations.
But you know you can't feel the vibrations.
All of the sea creatures are acting strange around the city. They, not as if they're upset or anything like that, but as they're like excited.
Okay, sorry for interrupting. I just had to
That-
clarify,
that
make
is
sure
okay.
that
That
the
is okay.
Astronogelon can talk.
For what purpose do you seek audience with me on this day? Queen Alicia will ask and entreat with this entity to help understand and enlighten our minds about the cycles once more, but help us to understand the new meaning and the talk of greater demons. We have been told, O Great One, that demons have entered the world, and this seems different from the tales that have been told. Allura, do you have anything you wish to entreat with and ask?
Great Old One, could it be the doing of Morwen? And when she says that, whenever that happens, there's always just like the crystals in the room flicker with this deep purple light. It's just this guttural reaction from the sea.
No horses whinnying in the distance.
Yeah, as I say.
Now, blue hair.
I have met with a group of adventurers that unknowingly released 6 demons into the world. They were stopped by, or they stopped a group of hags that were, if not stopped, would have controlled them. But there was an unhappy consequence that now they are free. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When she mentioned that she came with travelers that set these things free, then you feel a shudder. The 4 of you.
Could it be possible that our own hag may be involved in some level?
The activities of her are ever flowing and changing like a storm, but her hand, I believe, is involved to some degree. These demons, these entities, like so many others, have taken other forms. I gift you a sacred and important knowledge that very few know, nor will have the strength of mind to remember. Queen Ulicia and Princess Allura know this. The shards that you are following are the after effects, the aftershocks of greater entities. This cycle of which I spoke is a cycle of the greater deities themselves taking physical form and entering our world. Whenever a greater entity enters the world, a portion of themselves breaks off, splits. These shards cascade and spread to not only expand their influence, but also manipulate the world unknowingly to the greater entities. These demons of whom you speak have entered the world before and have done so again, and in so doing, portions of their form have broken off, solidified. These entities, in their true form, grow more powerful when close to one of their shards. Should a greater demon find one of its pieces, it will hunt it, claim it, and lay claim to it. As you find more of these shards, these entities will be drawn towards you as well as themselves. Whether they be good or ill, they will be drawn to it. Anything else, daughters?
Do you know where we may begin searching for one?
If Morwen is involved, then she is likely in hiding. Her cave is deep below the Krilting Bay. Speak to her, see what she knows. As I told your mother, find people who can help you hunt, who can help you track, who can find and notice these shards and the influence they spread. Look for areas most susceptible to certain pieces. Their forms will naturally fall close to them. For example, a shard and the entity of Wrath will most likely head towards a warmongering location.
Do you think that Morwen will speak with us? Will she not attack?
She will steal your soul for the likes of which you have never encountered yourself, Princess. Subdue her if you can. Kill her if you must, but her darkness has tainted the seas too long. With that, you have my blessing in protection against her.
I thank you greatly for your help, old great one. Great old one. Backwards.
He is old and great and old.
Yes.
Right.
Um,
Then the Queen will ask if there's anything else that you would like to entreat with for then returning to the city proper.
Should I say something? Damn it! I don't know if I should. Okay. Cecil is going to respectfully bow and speak to the great old one. Is it?
So Cecil,
there.
you're not
Oh.
there. No.
Oh, I'm
This
not. I
is
thought I
just-
was.
no.
Oh,
No, we were
I
left
remember
behind.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing.
You
that-
don't get to go see the great
You
old
said-
one, you
okay.
non-Doritic
Oh,
paladin.
Yeah.
What I said
No,
was
that's good.
that when a mention of the demons being released and travelers being responsible, then a shudder cascaded throughout the entire city.
Okay. I made a mistake. I thought we were there. Okay. Never mind.
That's all right. Then, if there's nothing else, Alora will begin to back away, never turning her back on this entity. And as you begin to, not Alora, sorry, Alicia, the Queen, she actually this case, begins to move first. And as she backs away from it, the large sea turtle begins to turn more into that silhouette and shrink down. The motion of the ocean returns the way it was. And you can return to the city to explain everything that happened to your party. The Queen will say that this is a lot to handle, a lot to deal with, but she believes that she has entrusted the right person with the job. Do please come back. And if you ever need help, the seas will be yours.
You will need to do much preparation before we take on Morwen. And as she walks to her companions, you guys see the door kind of shimmer and open, and you see her form kind of appear through the door. And she's looking down at the floor, and you see, like, behind her is just like a small school of various different sharks. It's almost as if the sea echoes her mood, and she looks up at them and she just says, "We must kill Morwen."
I'm gonna smile and say the hunt begins.
And we'll end the session there. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to join us. That was a lot of fun. I particularly enjoyed that session. Before we close off, I'm going to turn the time over to Matthew.
Hey, I am Matthew. I play Obsidian Dragonfly of Golden Valley Clan. You can find me here most Tuesdays, though we won't be here next week, but we will be following up the week after that. And I really enjoy the RP sessions, particularly learning a new place, and I really enjoyed how I know Amber and Teo worked this out beforehand. So Amber, like, explaining the world to us in character, and that was delightful. I just really enjoyed that. It painted a picture. And not that Teo doesn't do it great, because we all love his melodious voice, but having someone just in character talking about this, that, or the other was a lot of fun. So that's what I really enjoyed today. And since I just talked to Amber, I'll pass it over to you.
I'm Amber. I play Elara Annalena Yeldrin. And you can find me on Twitter at Farrar_DND. I am here on Tuesdays and then also on the Greyhawk channel, appearing every once in a while in their sporadically played Saltmarsh stories. Our next session is Friday, July 5th. This session was incredible for me. While we discussed a lot of the details of the city prior, a lot of this was on the fly, just like small details about the fish, the cities. I didn't even know about the waterfall. Like, I just kind of made that up that you can sing, and like, but it was just so fun. It fit the atmosphere of the city so well, and I really loved how Teo just did such a great job playing off of all these random ideas that I just kept coming up with. But yeah, also just, I really love interacting with all the sea creatures. And I will send it over to Solomon.
Oh, that was surprising.
I don't know. I looked
Yeah.
like.
Okay, I'm Solomon. I play Cecil Hathaway, the greatest character I have ever played. Well, not really. This other people, but I love my boy. And today I wanted mostly just to like learn about what's going on. I wasn't trying to interject too much, but when there was a sea hag, I kind of had to go in, and that's probably my favorite part, because now I can finally do something in the underwater city, as I love the aspect of a hunting family that's hunting monsters and saving people. That's really something that I really, really love the most, that I came up with for my whole lore and my whole background for all my characters. And of course, I love hunting monsters. I think that's the cool, like that whole like power fantasy that you're saving people. I have a hero complex. I want to be a hero. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest. I enjoyed Theo. Theo, you're the best. I love the way that you're able to just be a great DM. You know, and of course Matt. That was beautiful, bro.
It really was.
That little poem was beautiful. I hope you can find your family, bro. If not, I'll be your dad.
You don't know. You don't know. You don't know about that.
I know.
We don't need nobody.
I'll be your brother. Don't worry, and I'll pass it on to. Actually, hold on. Before that, I forgot to show a figure last week, so I will do it this week. I painted this Gundam kit. It is the Blue Destiny, spray painted. My favorite Gundam. I love that Gundam, and I will pass it on to. Wow, Carl.
I'm Carl. I played Belir de Winter. I also play on this channel Sunday nights. I play Lafcadio Whitehorn, the Warlock Tabaxi. I was a big fan of all of Amber's little details and flourishes. The whole time, everything being colored in greater detail. Enjoying that, and at the same time thinking of the high bar she is setting if we ever get to where Pelir is from. I was like, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to do what she's doing.
Trust me, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, damn, I'm like really writing everything down now, and it's like, I can't, nothing's going to beat this.
Love it. It's great for us.
I don't have a home. Not a problem.
And before I yield the rest of my time, I will just one more time mention that we are fundraising for the Trevor Project. If we hit our goal, we will be giving away a legendary bundle. So be sure to check out the link in the chat and down below. And with that, I will pass the attention to Casey.
Hi, I'm Casey. Casey H on social media. If you liked what you saw here today, you can also catch me over at the Greyhawk channel, 9 a.m. On Tuesday mornings. I'm doing City of the Gods, and then Fridays at 5 p.m. Right before Amber are doing the Old Faith. Except we're weekly. We're not weird schedule. We'll be back this Friday. So don't try to tell you. And then Sundays at 6 p.m. I'm back over here. Doing Half-Rate Heroes as Nos, the angelic hobgoblin. So catch me there for that. Y'all hit all of the notes about the awesome stuff that I was going to talk about this session. I had Amber narrating background stuff right there with the details that you just mentioned, Carl. I had Matt's poem / sick rhymes. That was very emotional. I think the only thing that y'all didn't mention was the I really enjoyed the teamwork. I love teamwork descriptions of things. And y'all did a teamwork description of an underwater sea hag wearing scuba gear. When she opened her mouth, there were bubbles. Made me giggle. And then Carl's songs. I know that Matt's epic poem.
Carl's were more off the cuff. Like,
yes,
I gotta go rewatch this. I didn't pay attention to a lot of what you're saying. Because I gotta get this down. Gotta get this down.
A, that was very quick thinking, and B, you're very brave.
Oh, thank you.
So it's very good.
And that's me, and I'll pass it over to you, Teo Vamp.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it myself. One of the things, as I've mentioned to you guys on the stream before, that one of the goals that I had right from the get-go was not that I would create, but that we, as a group of people, would create the world. And so each person has the responsibility and the opportunity to create their little pocket of their universe. And we got a good opportunity to work with. I got a good opportunity to work with Amber on fleshing out and designing the world of Lune. I'm working on getting Cecil to flesh out his family home, as we'll be leading there soon in the future. And as we begin to explore more of the world of Horen as a whole, and we encounter each individual's not necessarily their homes, but also just their worlds, their environments. Like Obi's, we've only barely touched upon his atmosphere of the thieves guild and the assassins group that he was a part of previously, but that will be expanded later. I look forward to those opportunities to bounce ideas back and forth and develop into this world as we have. And so it was a lot of fun to have that out in the open. And yes, as you say, Amber, there was a lot of stuff mentioned that I wasn't aware of before the session started. And so I'm about to spend the next hour or so furiously making notes. But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoy those kinds of sessions. As a reminder to everyone, please, if you like what we do, we like to hear it from you. So follow us on Twitter. We are at Crituitous RP. Go ahead and follow and subscribe on Twitch if you can. Subscribe on YouTube. Let us know that you like what we do here. We also have T-shirts that we mentioned last session that you can now pick up. I've got mine on order. I know that a couple other people do as well.
Mine's arriving this Friday.
Yep. It'll all be to support and help us to be able to keep doing what we enjoy and hopefully what you also enjoy us doing. To plug something for my own, I have begun recording audiobooks in my spare time, and the first one should be coming out this week. Let's touch wood, hope so. I'll be tweeting details about that next, when it comes available. But unfortunately, we won't have a session this next week of the World of Horen. Please still check out the Half Rate Heroes game on Sundays and go visit all of our friends and the different streams that we go to. They do a wonderful job. And so thank you very much, guys, and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.